Okay, let's start. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Dava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Janavalabha Girivardhari Gopi Janavalabha Girivardhari Girivardhari Jasura Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Jasura Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Jasura Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Jamunatira Vanachari Jamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jasura Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Jasura Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Jamunatira Vanachari Jamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Radha Madhava ki jai, Sisi Radha Giridhari ki jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajaka Jaja Shudara Shri Srimad His Divine Grace Abhay Charanaravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajaka Jaja Shudara Shri Srimad His Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Saranta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada ki jai. Anantakoti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Sam Veda Bhakti ki jai. Go Premanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories, assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories, Sisi Guru and Sri Gauranga. Sanyavadi Pashatyadi Shatarane Shilabhavadi. 16. Moment to mark these. If I was like David, I wouldn't have to do this. He gets everything memorized. But I'm not like Dravida. My brain has got more holes in it than that big sieve in the kitchen. My memory. There we go. But I do remember where the verses are. That one day will change also, I'm sure. Unfortunately. Okay. There we go. Hare Krishna. Okay, so this morning we're beginning a new chapter in our lives. Srimad Bhagavatam, 7th Canto, 14th chapter. We're starting. It's called Ideal Family Life. If you're not planning on getting married, you don't have to attend these classes. Did you hear that? Did you hear that? Yeah. Okay. But it's ideal family life. So even if you aren't planning to be married, it's a good idea to understand what this is. Just like I was listening to a lecture, it's a series of classes by Yudhiṣṭhira Mahārāja on Vanaprastha life. I've got, I don't know, maybe 10 more classes to go. Then after that, I'm finished. That's what I told Mukunda. Said, as soon as that book comes out, I have no excuses. So, Hare Krishna. But anyways, he was mentioning there was a devotee in maybe Philadelphia, an Indian devotee, giving classes on investments, for householders. So you have some money and don't make mistakes. So when the time comes, it's not too difficult to make that transition. No, just a seminar for devotees, And the Maharaj was saying it's probably best for just younger householders, the ones who are about ready, already spent their whole life and they're in their 50s, 60s, and 70s on the way out, may not help. But the devotee was on the call. He said, no, actually everyone should listen to it because you can, as an elder, tell the younger devotees what they should do. So everyone should have this information, even if it's not pertinent to you. It's useful information for others and So, Om Namo Bhagavate Vāsudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vāsudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vāsudevaya. So we usually read the chapter summary. These are like cliff notes. So if you sleep through the next month of classes, just refer to this and you'll pass the exam. Okay, so the chapter summary. Did you write all of these?
No, Prabhupada actually wrote these. And I think
really?
Based on introduction that Pakistan had.
Wow, okay. This chapter describes the occupational duties of the householder according to the time, the country, and the performer. When Yudhiṣṭhira Mahārāja became very much inquisitive about the occupational duties for the householder, Nārada Muni advised him that a gṛhastha's first duty is to be fully dependent on Vāsudeva, Krishna, and to try to satisfy him in all respects by executing one's prescribed devotional service. Sounds like every other order of life, doesn't it? Okay. This devotional service will depend on the instructions of authorities and the association of devotees who are actually engaged in devotional service. The beginning of devotional service is Shravanam, or hearing. One must hear from the mouths of realized souls. In this way, the gṛhastha's attraction to his wife and children will gradually be reduced. As far as the maintenance of his family, a gṛhastha, while earning what he requires for his living, must be very conscientious and must not undergo extraordinary endeavors simply to accumulate money and unnecessarily increase in material comforts. Although gṛhastha should externally be very active in earning his livelihood, he should internally be situated as a fully self-realized person without attachment for material gains. His dealings with family members or friends should be performed simply to fulfill their purpose. One should not be extravagantly engaged in this way. Instructions from family members and society should be accepted superficially. Someone say yes? Oh, okay. You know, there's a whole other series of lectures Jayadvaita Maharaj gave a seminar called The Horrors of Household Life or something like that, right? He used to attract everyone's attention, but he it's all kinds, you know, but just to understand. But I mean, he named it just to kind of like get people, wow, the horse, you know. But it's he addresses this question also, comes up as one of the things he brings up about this verse in here about when family members say you should do this and you should do that, and you go yes. And anyways, we'll get to that when those verses arrive. Okay. Instructions from family members and society should be accepted superficially, but in essence, the gṛhastha should be engaged in occupational duties advised by the spiritual master in Shastra. Specifically, a gṛhastha should engage in agricultural activities to earn money. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita 1844, Krishi Goraksha Vanijam. Agriculture, cow protection, and trade are the special duties of gṛhasthas. If by chance or by the grace of the Lord more money comes, it should be properly engaged for the Krishna consciousness movement. One should not be eager to earn more money simply for sensual pleasure. A gṛhastha should always remember that one who is endeavoring to accumulate more money than necessary is to be considered a thief and is punishable by the laws of nature. A gṛhastha should be very much affectionate toward lower animals, birds and bees, treating them exactly like his own children. A gṛhastha should not indulge in killing animals or birds for sense gratification. He should provide the necessities of life even to the dogs and the lowest creatures, and should not exploit others for sense gratification. Factually, according to the instructions of Srimad Bhagavatam, every gṛhastha is a great communist who provides the means of living for everyone. Whatever a gṛhastha may possess, he should equally distribute to all living entities without discrimination. The best process is to distribute prasad. A gṛhastha should not be very much attached to his wife. He should engage even his own wife in serving a guest with all attention. Whatever money a gṛhastha accumulates by the grace of God, he should spend in 5 activities, namely worshiping the Supreme Personality of Godhead, receiving Vaishnavas and saintly persons, distributing prasadam to the general public and to all living entities, offering prasad to his forefathers, and offering prasad to his own self. Gṛhastha should be always ready to worship everyone as mentioned above. The gṛhastha should not eat anything not offered to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as it is stated in the Bhagavad Gita 3.13, Yagya Shishtashina Santo Muchante Sarva Kilbisahai. The devotees of the Lord are released from all kinds of sins because they eat food that is offered first for sacrifice. The gṛhastha should also visit the holy places of pilgrimage mentioned in the Puranas. In this way, he should fully engage in worshiping the Supreme Personality of Godhead for the benefit of his family, his society, his country, and humanity at large. Text 1. Shri Yudhiṣṭhira Mahārāja gṛhastha etam padavim vidhina yena chanjasa yayad deva rishe bruhi madrisho grihamuda dihi. Sri Yudhiṣṭhira Mahārāja gṛhastha etam padavim vidhina yena chanjasa yaya deva rishe bruhi madrisho grihamudadi. Shri Yudhiṣṭhira Mahārāja gṛhastha etam padavim vidhina yena chanjasa yaya deva rishe bruhi madrisho grihamudadi. Shri Yudhiṣṭhira Mahārāja gṛhastha etam padavim vidhina yena chanjasa Yaya Deva Rishe Bruhi Madrisho Grihamudadihi. Anyone like to chant?
Shri Yudhiṣṭhira Mahārāja, gṛhastha etam padavim, vidinayena chandasa, yaya devarashe bruhi, madrisho grihamudadihi. Yudhiṣṭhira Mahārāja, gṛhastha etam padavim, vidinayena chandasa, yaya devarashe bruhi, madrisho grihamudadihi.
Yudhiṣṭhira Mahārāja, gṛhastha etam padavim, vidinayena chandasa, yaya devarashe bruhi, madrisho grihamudadihi.
Word for word. Shri Yudhiṣṭhira Mahārāja. Yudhiṣṭhira Mahārāja said, gṛhastha, a person living with his family. Itam, this, the process mentioned in the previous chapter. Padavim, position of liberation. Vidinam, according to the instructions of Vedic scripture. Yena, by which. Cha, also. Anjasa, easily. Yayat, may get. Deva Rishe, O great sage among the demigods. Bruhi, kindly explain. Madrisha, such as me. Griha Mudha Di, completely ignorant of the goal of life. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Maharaj Yudhiṣṭhira inquired from Nārada Muni, O my Lord, O great sage, kindly explain how we who are staying at home without knowledge of the goal of life may easily attain liberation according to the instructions of the Vedas. Purport. In the previous chapters, the great sage Nārada has explained how a brahmachari, a vanaprastha, and a sannyas should act. He first explained the dealings of a brahmachari, a vanaprastha, and sannyasi because these three ashrams or statuses of life are extremely important for fulfillment of the goal of life. One should note that in the brahmachari ashram, vanaprastha ashram, and sannyas ashram, there is no scope for sex life, whereas sex is allowed in gṛhastha life under regulations. Nārada Muni therefore first described brahmacharya, vanaprastha, and sannyas because he wanted to stress that sex is not at all necessary, although one who absolutely requires it is allowed to enter gṛhastha life or household life, which is also regulated by the Shastras and Guru. Yudhiṣṭhira Mahārāja could understand all this. Therefore, as a gṛhastha, he presented himself as Griha Mudhadi, one who is completely ignorant of the goal of life. A person remains a householder in family life is certainly ignorant of life's goal. He is not very much advanced in intelligence. So I guess householders can get a t-shirt that says, ignorant of the goal of life, and on the back it says, well, it says that, okay, ignorant of the goal of life. I'm a gṛhastha. Right? We can wear shirts like that. Truth be told, a person who remains a householder in family life is certainly ignorant of life's goals. He is not very much advanced in intelligence. As soon as possible, one should give up his so-called comfortable life at home and prepare to undergo austerity or tapasya, tapo divyam putraka. According to the instructions given by Rishabhdev to his sons, we should not create a so-called comfortable situation, but must prepare to undergo austerity. This is how a human being should actually live to fulfill the life's ultimate goal. Om Gyanantimirandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chakshulunminitam Dinatai Ismai Sri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Marobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Vanchakapatarubhascha Kripa Sindhu Bevacha Patidanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha. By your good wishes and ardent desires, I'll try to say a few things. Primero, abierta la puerta, por favor. Necesita aire. Gracias. Everyone get that one? Open the door, please. I need some air. Okay. Mahārāja Yudhiṣṭhira inquired from Nārada Muni, O my Lord, O great sage, kindly explain how we who are staying at home without knowledge of the goal of life may easily attain liberation according to the instructions of the Vedas. Then you can understand this could be a difficult question to answer. Because in order to attain liberation, one has to understand what the goal of life is and be intelligent. But Yudhiṣṭhira Mahārāja is asking a question, how about for those who don't understand the goal of life and aren't very intelligent, not only liberation, but easily attain liberation? That's a good question. Okay. So, what can be said? One thing is this mudhadi, or griha mudhadi, this lecture series I was mentioned earlier about the horrors of household life. One devotee was asking Jayadvaita Maharaj that, one may feel themselves very, very fallen and completely absorbed in household life and all the difficulties and struggles and tribulations and enticements and this and that. What hope is there? And Maharaj said, you're actually amongst very, very exalted company. And he used this verse. Maharaj Yudhiṣṭhira is saying the same thing. How can a person who is griha mudhadi, doesn't know the goal of life, not very intelligent, overly attached, how can they attain liberation? So he said, you're actually amongst some very, very exalted personalities. So this is the big question, And so this question is being asked, and now there's a reference to the other ashrams which have been discussed earlier, and one could say those are the most important ashrams for human society or for anyone trying to get out of the cycle of birth and death. There is a concession, though, and one may argue that it seems like most people are gṛhasthas or grihamedis. Most people are in a relationship like that, in family life and so on. That seems to be the majority. Of course, in Kali Yuga, it is. Because, why is that? Because not many people are interested in liberation and spiritual life. They're just not. So what's your default? It's family life or something like that. There's a lot of, what did Prabhupada call them? Bachelor daddies? And all kinds of things like that, all kind of permutations. But there's not, as far as serious spiritual activities, people don't understand that, and therefore they can't understand brahmachari life, vanaprastha, and especially sannyas. They just can't understand, why would you do that? Why would you waste your youth as a brahmachari, right? Why would you retire and then gradually separate from your family members and then take sannyas and just give it all up and just walk away from it all? Civil suicide. Why would you do something like that? There's a lot of reasons you do it. But if you don't believe in the soul and getting free from the cycle of birth and death and Krishna's mercy, and it doesn't make sense. We agree, it doesn't make sense. Now, as far as this term griha mudhadi, which means ignorant of the goal of life, there's another udaradi in that verse. Tivrena bhakti yogena yadite. What is that? So those who are udaradi, which means those who have broad vision, broad intelligence, they engage in What is the word? Tīvrena? Powerful, concentrated, intense devotional service. So there's a bumper sticker sometimes you see, it says something to the fact that if you don't know what's going on, if you knew what was going on, you'd yell or something like that. If you're actually conscious of what's going on in society, you'd flip out. In other words, we just miss so many different things. We just go on in life without... So udaradi means you have a broad intelligence, you can actually understand the bigger picture. And understanding that, you engage in intense devotional service. What was one of the aspects of the big picture? Yes, time is passing very quickly. Threefold miseries and time. Time's going real fast. So if okay, Virabhadra Prabhu, let's say you're late in making the fruit offering. You only have, how much time do you usually need to cook the offering? How much time? 1 hour? No, less than an hour. 45 minutes. Okay, let's say something happened, you only got 25 minutes. So you run in the kitchen, and what happens? Knowing that you only have 25 minutes, how fast are you? Real fast, right? Because you know you don't have much time, and you got to get it done. So this is a symptom, actually it's even a symptom of one in ecstatic love, that they do not, bhava, that you do not waste time. I forget the Sanskrit for that. Kalatvam, right. You realize I don't have much time. I just don't have much time. So your endeavor is very intense. When you think you have all the time in the world, it's like peeling the vegetables and cutting the fruit and da-da-da. And you look up at the clock. Last week the clock was stopped. Did you notice that? I think it's been fixed. Has it been fixed? No clock. Hare Krishna. Okay, so that's hard. That's very hard for the cooks. But last week you look up at the clock and somehow or other it's 20 of 7 all day long. So I got all the time in the world. And they went in there, Mukunda, look at that. So we quickly put everything together because the clock was stopped. You thought I had all the time in the world, but actually you don't have all the time. So now there's no clock. So you should ask someone to get a clock in there. Maybe take one of the ones from the altar or something. You need a clock right away. So the point being that if you think you have all the time in the world, you just take your time. But we don't. See, we don't. We don't have all the time in the world. This lecture, I just started this series, Maharaj, Jayadeva Maharaj on Vanaprastha. And one Mataji was bringing the point, because Prabhupada, in the Light of the Bhagavat, one devotee read this, it's one of the purports, and Prabhupada was saying, gave the example, just like your business, you're running a business, okay, and at a certain time of the day, it's time to just close shop and go home. You just stop. You just stop your business and go. It's time. It's over. The day's over. You know, just sometimes you go to business, oh no, they just closed 5 minutes ago. Can you? No, it's closed. It's over. So at a certain point, you just have to, probably gave that as an analogy, that gṛhastha life, sooner or later, you just got to stop. And you have to get serious about Krishna consciousness, and then moving on to Vanaprastha, and then maybe sannyasa if one is qualified. But he gave that example. There's a certain time you just have to close the doors. Business is over, like that. And of course, there's a famous verse about pancha urvam. At 50 years old, 50 years, you go to the forest. So at 50 years old, you're supposed to start closing shop. You're supposed to do it.
You're actually close on. 50 is, you're already supposed to be closed.
Right. So the point, time, is that you got to close. Anyways, the Mataji was giving the point. She said that well, what happens when householders, all of a sudden gave an example on householder she knows. He's 50, but, at 40 he had a kid, a child, and how could he leave? He's got one child who's 17, another child is like 4 or 5, or you're taking care of, let's say you're taking care of children or family members who have special needs. What happens if there's this? What happens if there's that? And of course, one angle of that is, well, you have to take everything on an individual case. But Maharaj made the point is, but also you may be asked to leave by time, the time element, tomorrow, without any preparation. What's the guarantee that you're going to stay for another 10, 20 years and take care of your children who need you, or take care of this, or take care of that? You may get the notice tomorrow. Then what's going to happen? So the point is, we don't know. Time is passing, and so there's two sides to that. One has to look and see. So, well, that's another thing you brought up. Householder life, actually, everyone has to be thinking of the future and the different phases of life we need to go through to attain the perfection of life. So even as a brahmachari, one's thinking about or preparing for household life in the sense that if I'm going to be a householder, I have to learn to control my senses and learn how to take care of things and be responsible. And then as a householder, you're thinking, well, this isn't going to go on forever. It's not going to go on forever because you get old, right? Even today, people, it's not Vanaprastha life, but they're old and they travel around and visit holy places like Disneyland and Yosemite and, right, places, SeaWorld. They come here, so many Indian Vanaprasthas come here and see SeaWorld and the zoo, right? They visit. But the point is they're actually more renounced. Sometimes they downsize their homes, they get a trailer, and they just travel around. They do a lot of traveling. It's a simpler life. And so as a household, you're thinking, it's not going to go on. I can't do this forever. I can't work like this forever. I can't, and the kids grow up. They've got their own lives. So when Prabhupada Das once said to me, turned to me, he goes, he said, my kids are all grown up. He said, now I'm just a Father's Day card to them. Right? You forget about your parents. You send them hopefully you send them a card or call them on their birthday or something. No, here, our Prabhupada does. Prabhu, so you get old and your family, they're off. You've done your duty. And then as a Vanaprastha, you're preparing maybe for sannyas if you're that advanced. But you're thinking, you're not unaware of this, we call it a natural progression of what we should be doing for self-realization. It shouldn't just be a surprise. You get a notice in the mail, Prabhu, you have 10 days to take Vanaprastha. Or, Prabhu, you got 5 days to be a gṛhastha. Now they go 10 years, 5 years to be a sannyasi. You're on a list. It's a 10-year list, 5-year list. Right, you can't take it. So it's planning. You can't say, I'll be a sannyasi. No, you gotta wait till at least you're 40. But you're thinking about these things. They're going to come. It's going to happen. Time is passing, and we're all going to go through these phases. A young person, you're a young person, younger person, okay? Do you ever imagine what it's going to be like when you're as old as Dravida? Doesn't. It will come. Oh, okay. Never the twain shall meet. Okay. But it's going to happen. It's going to happen. It gets old, and we don't have much time, so there were many different things I wanted to bring up. I was going to bring up... yeah, okay, I'll keep him with the theme. I was going to bring up Lord Chaitanya's instructions to Raghunath Das Goswami about taking care of his parents, staying, and being in a great... That lasted 2 years. Then and Raghunath Bhatta, both. One lasted 2 years. Raghunath Das Goswami said, don't renounce now. Just go home and, do your duties. Time will come. It lasted 2 years, and then he joined Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, he told him to go back, take care of your... They're nice devotee parents, on both cases. Take care until they pass away. They're elderly. That was 4 years, and then he joined. So different instructions like that. And then I was going to talk about Maharaj Priyavrata, how Lord Brahma told him, be a householder. He was actually performing austerity. He said, we need you. We need you to be a temple president. Like that, of the whole universe, practically, of the universe. And that whole exchange, because he didn't want to do it. He was thinking, if I become a householder, I'm going to fall in Maya. I don't want to do this. He said, you have to do it. He said, you will be protected. There's a verse there I was going to read. If you just keep your mind fixed upon the lotus feet of Krishna, you will be protected. Guaranteed. Krishna will protect you. It's an important service you have to do. So there's many different instructions. But since we're talking about the passing of time, I'll read a little bit here. Oh, if I can figure out how to... There we go. It's the famous part of the Bhagavatam where someone's instructing someone else to get out right now. What is it? What is? Vidura. Okay, so there's a little... let me read these few verses here. Okay. Mahatma Vidura knew all this, and therefore he addressed Dhritarashtra saying, "My dear king, please get out of here immediately. Do not delay, just see how fear has overtaken you. This frightful situation cannot be remedied by any person in this material world. My Lord, it is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, His eternal time, that has approached us all." So, whoever is under the influence of Supreme Kala, eternal time, must surrender his most dear life, what to speak of other things such as wealth, honor, children, land, and home. In other words, Krishna is going to take it back sooner or later. There's stories over the years of, economic downturns here. And we've had members of the congregation who gave a little bit, but not much. But when these fall in the market came, they'd come and mention how they lost millions of dollars. So they wouldn't give it to Krishna willingly, and Krishna just took it anyways. It's interesting. It's like Krishna took it away. You could have given it and got the benefit, but no, time took it in the form of a downturn in the market. And they said, I lost millions of dollars. Well, boo-hoo-hoo. It's Hare Krishna. You should have used it in Krishna's service. Well, you could have, Now what's the point? So anyways, Kala is coming and taking everything. You have been blind from your very birth. Now, there's a line that, and I don't know if it's in the Sanskrit or whatever, but Nārada Maharāja talks about this when he speaks about this part of the Bhagavatam, one class. And he said what Vidura told Dhritarashtra was, the reason for which you have taken your birth is now over. Just think about that. The reason you have been born, it's now over. In other words, he was born, the king, and raising his kids in the kingdom, and you could even include the drama of the palace and the battle of Kurukshetra. But the point is, now it's over. It's gone. It's over. The big reason you were born and all, it's over. As a king, as a father, as a it's done. So why hang on? They don't need you anymore. Just like it says, Kapila Muni says this also, that the man gets old and then he can't make money anymore. And what does he become? A burden to the family, and they don't like him anymore. He's not contributing. He's got all these health problems, stinks a little bit. It's just like no one likes him. He's like, oh, now that should not be. One should always be very respectful to one's elders and take it, but it is a common occurrence. And therefore, in our society, for some time, you take your parents, elderly parent or parents, and where do you put them? No, it's not on ISKCON. Where do we put them? Get them out of the way. If you don't want to think about something, you put it in the closet. So you just move them somewhere else. Whereas in a cultured society, you would never do that. You take care of your parents and so on and so on. You see this even today in Indian houses and so on. The mother's living there. If the father's passed, they're there. They're there. If not living there, maybe the 6 months of the year they're staying and so on. But the point is, the reason, in other words, you're saying you're blind from your very birth. What kind of life is that? And recently you have become hard of hearing. Gṛhastha, Hare Krishna. Hard of hearing, can't hear. Your memory is shortened and your intelligence is disturbed. Your teeth are loose. Your liver is defective. That means that's bad. And you're coughing up mucus. So, wait, it's going to happen to all of us. Yeah. Alas, how powerful are the hopes of a living being to continue his life. Verily, you are living just like a household dog and are eating remnants of food given by Bhima. This is the most intense instruction. You know? The very people he was trying to kill, killed all of his, he's living in their home. Just to get, just to survive like that. There is no need to live a degraded life and subsist on the charity of those whom you try to kill by arson and poisoning. You also insulted one of their wives and usurped their kingdom and wealth. This reminds me of those Christian tracts they used to pass out. This was your life. Remember those? Those little ones? Remember those? Those little tracts, you pick it up, and all of a sudden this guy goes to hell or something like that. He says, why am I in hell? What did I ever do wrong? And this is your life as a movie screen. And it goes to all the horrible things he did. He said, okay. And I think at the end he accepts Jesus and gets out of there. But, this is your life. He's just explaining, what did you do, Dhritarashtra? Despite your unwillingness to die and your desire to leave even at the cost of honor and prestige, your miserly body will certainly dwindle and deteriorate like an old garment. He is called undisturbed who goes to an unknown remote place and free from all obligations, quits his material body when it has become useless. He is certainly Narottama. He is certainly a first-class man who awakens and understands, either by himself or from others, the falsity and misery of this material world, and thus leaves home and depends fully on the personality of Godhead residing within his heart. So this is an example, because of the time we'll end here. But, getting out of gṛhastha life. This is a mudhadi. Dhritarashtra really became a mudhadi, offensive to devotees and attached, and fortunately he had a brother, Vidura, who just pulled him right out, just pulled him out like that. So he had forgotten what he was supposed to do. Because Yudhiṣṭhira Mahārāja, right here, in another chapter or two, he leaves. He retires timely. Dhritarashtra had to be dragged out. They left. It was time to go. Yep, just left. They could understand this is what I should do next. So, isn't that an amazing austerity? Just walk until you drop dead. Isn't that? Yeah, just keep going until you can't go any further. That is amazing. It was time to Kali Yuga, and he just turned over the kingdom. And out of separation from Krishna. So, anyways, it's such a happy class about gṛhastha life here today. Hare Krishna. The main thing is time's passing, and it's part of the plan. And it will be described in great detail by Nārada Muni what part of the plan it is. And even though it's a very widespread ashram, majority of people are in that ashram, one should not think that therefore it is the best or the most important or something like that. It's a certain time in life, one has it, but one has to keep an eye on the goal and know there's a progression through gṛhastha life and not hang on. And in that purport also came up, Prabhupada is blasting modern politicians. And he's saying I don't know if he said dinosaurs or something like that, but saying politicians shouldn't be any older than 50 years old. They simply create problems for society. It was like, and then Maharaj said, well, I guess anyone asks what our stance is on the elections, I guess we could read this purport. But Prabhupada just saying, he gave that example, these old politicians, they should not be in office over the age of 50, should be younger people. They can't do no good whatsoever. They're just a bunch attached, It's quite interesting information Prabhupada was sharing with us. Yes. So any questions or comments on this? I know it's late, but Hare Krishna.
There's a history, of Jayavada Maharaj. He lived for a long time in Alatra with the BTG, and he saw around him the aging families, and that there wasn't much impetus for Vanaprastha, what to speak of sannyas. And I think one of the problems is because it's always like, yes, and at age 50 you leave your wife in charge of the elder son who's 25, like that. But those elder sons, they're gone. They went to college and they're in New York now trying to make money or whatever. So that support system isn't there, and so I think they stay together for survival. The man, could take sannyas and he could go from temple to temple, like that. But what's the woman going to do? Stay at home alone with the old dog? The children are gone. Or she has her daughter, who got married, and she was 18, and has some children, and the guy's long gone. This is the disintegration, the social disintegration. It doesn't support the sannyas. India, you can go, like Prabhupada, he lived, people would beg and they would give him, but you can't do that now. So there's a hesitancy to do that. I think that's one factor.
Yeah, he brought up that point too, that at 50, that's when people got married. The girl might have been, 16, 17, 18, and the boy's 22, but now people are pursuing their careers, and I see this because I do weddings all the time. Most of these West and East, not just Indians, they're all getting married in their mid-30s, 30, 33, 35, sometimes later. So you don't have a child until you're in your 30s or even 40. So that child's not able to take care of anyone until you're 65. That's when you finally finish sending your kid to college, not 50, but 65.
The economics of it is that the crazy society, the husband and the wife both have to work. So then you have to have the child care. That's like breaks up the whole idea, and the whole thing.
It's Kali Yuga. Welcome to it. And these are things will be brought up in the next month on this chapter. Okay. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Question? No. Go ahead. Let's get it out there in the universe.
Thank you for a very nice class. So I had a question.
So everyone can hear.
I had a question about, how Dhritarashtra had some attachment towards Vidura, so he listened to Vidura. So what if somebody is not that, there is nobody, some person doesn't listen to anybody, what is their situation when the old age comes?
Okay. There is that saying about a fool learns by bitter experience. Intelligent person learns by hearing, but a fool learns by bitter experience. If we are so unfortunate that we cannot take the advice of our well-wishers who are qualified, then that is known as unfortunate. Very, very unfortunate. And what can be done? Well, in due course of time, we suffer. And suffering becomes our teacher. What can be done? So one should always, part of life is to make sure we have amongst our association those who are wiser than us and can give us good instruction. That may take the form of parents, elders, teachers, gurus, older friends, someone. We should always have that there. That's a natural part of life, a normal life, an intelligent life, a life that will be fulfilled and successful, that you have mentors and teachers and friends and relatives who care for you and know more than you do and can help you. And if you go, what do they say? I think sometimes said like there's 3 words that will completely cancel out you learning anything in life. You know what they are? 3 words. I know it all. I know everything. So you think like that, what can be done? How can you learn in a classroom? How can, I know it all. Okay? Hare Krishna. Well, you don't know it all, and because you don't know it all, you're going to suffer. And that's fine. Just let nature take its course. And it is seen that in due course of time, when we are humbled by the passing of time, sometimes we come around. Sometimes we come around like that. But it's true. An intelligent person listens by hearing. A fool learns by bitter experience. Bitter. Painful. So, Hare Krishna. That's just life.
I was just thinking, what's worse is that you don't learn at all. You don't learn by that bitter experience, or you don't have a desire to learn. Like, when you give a good advice to a fool, he becomes mad at you.
Yes. Yeah, but the point is, Krishna is the Chaita Guru in the heart, and he arranges for all of us to learn the lesson. And he will. I gave the example in class the other day about slapping someone's hand. Remember, let go? We were talking about that purport. Let go. Krishna slaps you. Let go for the devotee. Just let go of this material world. So Krishna will make it hurt so much that sooner or later we go, okay, and become humble. He'll do it because he loves us. That's what we need. They call it tough love, right? That's what we need. So don't worry. Everyone